Hello, it's Celeste of Astrology by Celeste. I'm an astrologer, a coach, and a teacher. And I wanted to do some astrology in action today to discuss the Gemini full moon. And Pope Francis is giving us an opportunity to see astrology in action. It's been announced that he has a health issue. Okay, so let me share my screen and hopefully this will go easily. Okay. Sometimes, I don't come on here that often. Screen one. Think I want choose. Oh Lord, here we go. Okay, I did it wrong. Yeah, let's do it again. Yeah, I do most of my stuff on Instagram, so you'll have to bear with me for 1 second because there we go. We are in business. Okay. So, so today we had a full moon in Gemini. The full moon already happened, but it's at 4 Gemini. So the sun in Sagittarius shining a light. So think about your chart and what house the sun in Sagittarius is in. Whenever there's a full moon, the sun and the moon are as far apart from each other, and full moons are illuminating, which bring things to our attention. So you want to look on the axis of what house is the Sagittarius sun shining in, and emotionally, what is coming to your attention in the house of the Gemini moon. And it may be something that's an actual event that happens, or it can be just awareness about things. Full moons they bring culmination. They're times to celebrate things. There's times to release what no longer serves us because the moon is 100%, and as soon as as soon as the full moon, a minute after the full moon, the moon is waning, losing its light. We go into a disseminating phase where we share things. And the big things about this full moon, besides being in the sun of in the signs of a sign of Gemini, which is a sign about information, curiosity, Gemini reporting, news. Gemini rules the lungs. Gemini rules small pets. Gemini rules children, students, things like that are all Gemini topics. Transportation is a Gemini topic as well. And the sun and the Mars are together in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is like the big picture, and Gemini is the facts. So it's a great time to question your curiosity, question your belief systems about things. Did something happen, especially like Thanksgiving? Did something happen where maybe someone said something that was like felt really outlandish or outside of your you couldn't imagine someone coming from this place of thought processes? Are you questioning things, or did it make you be like, oh, that person, oh my goodness, da 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 da. But this is a great full moon to think about opening our minds to consider other points of view. Yeah, that's a big thing about this full moon. And also, we had two big transits at the end of last week, where first the sun squared Saturn, and then Mars squared Saturn. So the sun moved into Sagittarius, and the first aspect it made was a square to Saturn. The sun spotlights things, and Saturn and Pisces about difficulties or crises or hardship, that sort of thing. And then Mars, the planet of action, squared Saturn. And I talked about on my Instagram Live, you can go listen there, about the whole hostage situation and how it was like, there were delays, Saturn delays, and then this is in Israel. And then the deal went through after Mars went into Sagittarius, moved from Scorpio, this holding on to things, and then to Sagittarius, a sign of freedom. And yeah, it was really beautiful to watch some of that astrology with happening with people from both sides were being free. But anyway, let me just talk about the Pope, because this is what I came here to talk about. Okay, where is Pope Francis's chart? Okay. Okay. Oh, another thing about this full moon is that Mercury is squaring Neptune on the day of the full moon. Let me go to, okay. Mercury, the other thing, the big aspect is Mercury, the planet of communication, commerce, transportation. Mercury rules the lungs, is squaring Neptune. Neptune, the planet of illusions and delusions that dissolves things. We're going to have 3 Mercury times where Mercury squares Neptune. The first one is today, November 27th. The next one is, let me give you all 3 dates. So I would mark your calendar. These are not good dates to be doing negotiations or traveling a long distance if you don't have to, because Mercury, like the facts, and then Neptune dissolves. Neptune is the fog and the mist, and it can make things very confusing. It's like that who's on first with Abbott and Costello. That's like a Mercury square Neptune bit where people are talking to each other and they are completely misunderstanding what each other is saying. And it just causes a lot of confusion, a lot of frustration, and all of that kind of things. If you've never seen it, it is something to Google, because it's a classic. Okay, so today, November 27th, December 26th, and January 8th of next year. Those are the 3 dates of Mercury square Neptunes. And 2 days on either side, especially, is when you want to be conscientious about the fact that Mercury is squaring Neptune, and maybe, really striving for understanding when you're, or repeating yourself, asking questions like for clarifying someone, to make sure you understand each other with this. And the reason it's doing it 3 times is because Mercury is going to station to go retrograde at 8 Capricorn on December 12th and go back to 22 Sagittarius on January 1st. So that is what is going to be happening. So today we have a full moon at 4 Gemini, and it was announced that the Pope has lung inflammation. So let me view by wheel. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is weird because you have to do it on the other screen anyway. Oh, hi, Dion. So nice to see you. Yes, yes. Okay. So what we have here is, I'm talking about Pope Francis, and the full moon. It was announced that yesterday it was announced that he has lung inflammation. So he missed his thing he does every Sunday, but he's still planning to travel to Dubai to give a talk for climate change or something, which I think is very ill-advised, and that he should stay home. Now, maybe they will make a reversal, because we are in the shadow of Mercury retrograde. Mercury is going to, like I just said, come all the way back to 22 degrees of Sagittarius. So it's going to tread over the same ground 3 times. So things that come up between now and mid-January could have 3 points to the story. And there may be a lot about confusion because of the Mercury square Neptune is like hanging over this whole thing. And so he is ill. The first house is the house of our vitality, and the sixth house is the house of illness. And we can see this full moon. Where's the moon? Oh, the moon is not on the outer. Oh my God. Let me fix that real quickly. Display transiting points. Uh, let's see. Did that fix it? Lord, today. There it is. Okay, there's the moon. I was like, where's the moon? Okay. So the sun and Mars can be problems. Mars can be inflammation, literally. Mars is, yeah, Mars can be fevers, things like that. So he has literal, Gemini rules the lungs. There's a full moon in Gemini, and he's got lung inflammation, Sun and Mars together on his sixth house of illness. So spotlighting the illness, Sun and Mars, and the moon in Gemini in his 12th house of isolation. 12th house is a house of hospitals. The 12th house is, yeah, self-undoing, like deciding to go on a trip when you know you need to rest. And he's a Gemini rising, so Mercury transits are especially important for him. And you can see Mercury opposing him, Mercury in Sagittarius, a sign of its detriment. It doesn't like to be there. So that already gives him a little bit of yeah, a little weakness. Mercury conjunct his sun and his north node, squaring Neptune now. And Neptune's slowing down to station to go direct on December 6th, I believe. Let me make sure that's the right date. And whenever a planet stations, that degree is what we call a hot degree. And so if you have planets within 1 degree on either side, there's likely a story for you. And Neptune is stationing at 24 degrees of Pisces. And so especially people who it's impacting their chart by hard aspect. So that would be any of your planets in, especially personal planets in Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces. If you have anything between 23 and 25, there's likely a story for you, especially, yeah, especially if it's the sun, moon, ascendant, midheaven, da 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 da, Mercury, Mars, Venus. Okay, so we can see here Neptune is stationing right here, December 6th, squaring his Gemini ascendant. And the ascendant is the vitality. And we can think about the fact that Gemini, like I said, rules the lungs, and Neptune dissolves things. And so, like in Neptune and Pisces, like fluid in the lungs and things like that. So, yeah, I would be very concerned if I were him or his doctor about this, because he's already in a weakened state. And the fact that it's stationing there it suggests that this could be serious, or there could be like back and forth relapses with Mercury going retrograde, back and forth over the same ground for him. The other thing that's happening is the South Node is coming for his Mars, and yeah, Mars rules his 10th house, so it speaks up to his job, because Aries on the 10th, as well as his 5th house of self-expression. He's having trouble talking. And Venus and this is interesting. The Venus is going to meet the South Node on Thursday, opposite at 24, and that's going to be sextile his sun. A wide square to his Pluto, but yeah, it's really pretty close. This conjunction is within 5 degrees of his Mars, so I don't know. He might have like extra weakness then. We shall see. But anyway, the point is, I went around the bend a lot to make the point that number one, this full moon is highlighting his sixth house of illness, 12th house of isolation, Neptune squaring his ascendant and his nodes in the sky right now. Plus, we have this Mercury square Neptune going on. Again, a weakness in the lungs. And he's got Chiron at his midheaven. Chiron, the wounded healer, which could be, again, symbolic of him having some kind of weakness or illness. And Chiron is, yeah, it's opposite his Mars, but it'll come back over his Mars. Also, if we look at his also, if we look at his progressions, so progressions are, so this is him, his natal chart, progressions, which speak to what is going on now for him, as well as his the transits. So you can see here that Neptune in the sky is not just squaring his ascendant, it's conjunct his progressed sun and Saturn. So Neptune on your sun, again, weakness, draining your vitality. Neptune on Saturn on Neptune is a classic health transit because Saturn structures, Neptune weakens them. Yeah, we'll see the coming weeks. I expect this story about his health will keep coming up over the next couple of weeks. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But you can also see Saturn in the sky is squaring his progressed Mars on the cusp of his second sixth house. So difficulty taking action due to a health problem, essentially, is what he has, an illness. Now, it doesn't always mean that. For someone else, it could be difficulty taking action like at work because of whatever. There's all this pressure and things like that. The sixth house can be about like daily life stuff. It just could be burdens and tasks and toils. Like sixth house is also the money you make from the work you do. It's a house of service. Yeah, there are a lot of other ways that Saturn squaring your natal Mars can show up. And we had Mars square Saturn in, well, it's progressed Mars, but yeah, it doesn't matter. So, we had that Mars square Saturn this weekend as well. So yeah, the Pope is a story that is likely going to be, we're going to be seeing more about. So if he was my client, I would tell him, look, this is not just potentially a temporary thing. This is something that could be serious. So you may want to rethink your travel plans. Can you join by Zoom or whatever? Yeah, that's what I would say to him. Yeah. Okay. That was all I had. So it's coming to the end of the year, and it's a great time to come book a reading to discuss what the energies are coming for you next year. Next year is like, there is so much happening. There's the big Jupiter Uranus conjunction at 21 Taurus. So understanding where that's happening in your chart, understanding if there is any new moons or full moons that are particularly highlighting your chart is a good thing to know, as well as hot degrees. I'm doing a talk for Kepler College on Saturday, December 2nd, about the astrology of 2024. I'm going to talk about the eclipses as well as the retrogrades and the retrograde stations. And that's only 24, I think it's $25. And you can sign up. You can go to Kepler College. I'm not sure if it's .edu or org or whatever, but you can go to the link in my bio and you can sign up for that. I'm also doing an amazing panel with Leslie Taborda on Friday, where there's going to be 6 of us talking about the astrology of 2024. So you can join that as well. That's a pay what you can. And then I'm going to be talking on December 17th for OPA. So, yeah, multiple options, opportunities to hear all about 2024. It's going to be a really important year. It's going to be a good year to like really do some time to think and plan about how you're going to take some action. Oh, and Jupiter is going into its sign of detriment. And we're having a election in the United States. It is going to be something. Yeah. So, but we all have our personal stories and our personal lives to lead, and there's going to be opportunities for growth and change and that sort of thing. Okay, so you can book all your readings at astrologybyceleste.com. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I guess that's it, unless you have a question. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving and listen to the Celestial Insights podcast to hear all about more details about this full moon this week. Okay, take good care.